is a lot of people's favorite song in my show, and it is the most fun to perform. It's where everyone's dancing and singing and shouting and singing along and just remembering that no matter what we go through, no matter who we are, no matter who we love, that we're gonna go through stuff in our lives. Doesn't matter how much we work on ourselves, we're gonna go through stuff in our lives. But it gets better.
When everything is on top of me and I feel I cannot breathe, my glass is empty, I need a drink, a shot of sobriety. And when the night gets darker, so black is torture. And when the fight gets harder, we must get stronger. Hey, ha, ha, ha. No, it ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. Ain't seen nothing. Ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. Ain't seen nothing. When I am spiraling endlessly and lost in uncertainty, the fog is thick and I cannot see. Sanity has abandoned me. Oh, when the night gets darker, so black is torture. And when the fight gets harder, we must get stronger. Hey, ha, 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 they see nothing. Shit gets better. They see nothing. They see nothing. Shit gets better. They see nothing. They see nothing. They see nothing. All right, what's your heart? Are you ready? So get right out your head. Say get right out your head. Say get right out your head. Say get right out your head. That's right. Say get right out your head. Say get right out your head. Come on. Get right out your head. Say 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 get right out your head. Come on. Ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. Ain't seen nothing. Ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. Ain't seen nothing. Ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. Ain't seen nothing. Ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. Ain't seen nothing. Ain't seen
Hey everybody, hey, welcome to the kingdom. I am so excited and so honored to welcome you all here. And you know, the words to that song, it's always been one of my favorites to perform. Ain't seen nothing. Shit gets better. It gets better. Ain't seen nothing. When everything is on top of me and I feel like I cannot breathe. When the glass is empty and I feel like I need a drink, a shot of sobriety. When the night gets darker, so black it's torture. But when the fight gets harder, we must get stronger. They ain't seen it gets better. And so this is us here together at the kingdom, all of us from all over the world. And I am so excited and so honored to be here with you all. And for those of you who are new, my name is Justin Michael Williams. And for those of you who've been here many times before, Magdalena and Kate and Aaron and my mom and Anna and just everybody, all the whole family here is here, Jeannie. And if this is your first time, I would love for you to type in the chat box first time. Just type that into the chat box so that we know that it's your first time, and you'll see our community welcome you with open arms. And one of the things that we do here in this community is if you hear me or our special guest today say anything that makes you want to say like, yeah, or amen, or I'm with you, or I got you, you just throw your little emoji hands up, little emoji hands. You throw them up in the chat box. And if you don't have emoji hands, you could just put a smiley face or type the word hands up. And when that happens, we will know that we're exchanging this energy back and forth, and that we're in this and we're rising and we're here together. And so I love you all. Hello, Janice, for your first time. Hello, Cassie, for your first time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And you know, I see so many of us here today. I'd love for you all, even if this is not your first time, for you to, hey Liz, first time, for you to type in where you're coming in from. So where in the world you're chiming in from, so we can see this community that is growing in the most beautiful and incredible way. All right, so without further ado, let's jump into this. And hello, Candida Rose, hello. So here's how this is gonna work, okay? Every session's a little bit different, but what we anchor into, no matter what, and I see you, Jess, welcome to the community, Jess. And what I want you to know is that no matter what we're doing, what we will anchor into with all of our special guests, with each other, with this community, is that we believe all beliefs are welcome here. We believe all biologies are welcome here. We believe in the power of music to open our hearts and minds. And we believe that wisdom can come from many, many places. And so sometimes you'll hear me say words like God or spirit or the universe, or I'll use science or tarot cards or astrology or all different weavings to bring us to the center of these universal truths that help us come together in all of who we are and what we believe. So whatever you believe in, it is welcome here. We believe here at the Kingdom in an expanded definition of self. And most importantly, we don't just honor or tolerate each other's differences, but we know that we are stronger because of them, and ultimately we rise together. And I just saw on here, okay, that it is Tidra's birthday. So I'm going to turn this right down right now, and everybody's saying happy birthday to Tidra. Tidra, I got something for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tidra. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Tidra. Happy birthday to everyone who's having birthdays this month. Happy birthday, and we're celebrating you. Thank you for coming to the Kingdom to celebrate today. We got something really special planned for you and for all of you. All right. So as we continue in through our process together, what we have in this session today is we always begin with a poem or a song. Maybe that song's Happy Birthday or Shit Gets Better. We have a prayer, and we welcome in our personal prayer, which I'll teach you all how to do in a moment. And then we have a teaching, which either comes from me or a special guest or the combination of the two, with a practice, a golden nugget, and an action to help you take these teachings out of your mind and into your life. And so today, I have a very, very special session with you. But before we get into it, let's pray. Let us pray and drop right in to the center of our hearts. Hands over the heart, one over the other. Y'all know what I like to do. So some people like to pray like this. You know, I like to pray like this, just really feeling in to the root of the heart. Got my little crystals here. Into the root of the heart. Eyes closed. God, Spirit, Universe, all that is, all that ever has been, and all that ever will be, we thank you. Thank you for bringing our community together safely, thousands of us, hundreds of us rather, from all over the world, for everybody listening in on the podcast, for everybody who watches the recording from all corners of the earth. Thank you for bringing us together to create this web of connection and love. I am so grateful to be here to help spread this message through the community. But may we all remember that as we connect with one another, especially with people who are different from us, that this is where the power of our true connection and our true power really lies. May we remember the truth of who we are. May we remember to anchor into our hearts. And may we all keep our eyes and ears and attention and spirit tuned to the one, at least just one little surprise, sparkle of joy that might come today unexpectedly. May we notice it. May we be grateful for it. And may it anchor into our hearts. This is your moment now to welcome in your personal prayer. So I invite you for the next 60 seconds or so, I'll be quiet and you can welcome in your own religious or spiritual prayer, or just set an intention from the root of your heart for today's session. In this space of silence, we remember that we are all here together at the same time, connected in heart and mind. And may all the words that are spoken here today and in the chat box and beyond be used for the benefit of all beings. So it is. Thank you, Spirit. Ashe, Aho, Salam, Amen, Shalom, Satnam, Om, Awen. Thank you. Here we are. Here we are at the kingdom. So I'm very excited for today's session, I have to tell you all. And in a moment, I'm going to put up a little poll and question. I think it'll work for all of us as well. And today's session is a really special one to me. And it's called The Power of Heart. The power of heart. And how we can each start to know what is our soul's innermost longing. What is calling you and beckoning you forward through the whispers of your heart. And there is no one better that I could think of to have this conversation with us today than my sister, my soul sister, Sianna Sherman. Sianna Sherman is an international, well, first of all, I'll say this, Sianna Sherman is one of my best friends on the planet. She is an incredible teacher, healer, and leader, and just woman, spirit, a white woman, white embodied woman here on this planet who's been doing incredible social justice work, incredible work on dismantling these different parts of herself, on really creating a community of collective care, which we've been talking about a lot here. And Sianna, on a professional front, is an international yoga teacher, literally, this is not like a hyperbole, like literally training tens of thousands of students and teachers for nearly 3 decades. She is one of the most gifted storytellers. Her words kind of feel like poetry as she's speaking to you. They kind of wrap you in this space of magic as she's talking. And her words truly awaken the imagination through the language of the soul. And so for those of you who it's your first time, you're really in for a special treat today. And if I didn't get your name in the chat box since your first time, just know that I see you and I love you. And we really, really, really have a special session. But before we welcome Sianna, and what I'm doing with Sianna, just so you all know, is I already interviewed Sianna Sianna's actually teaching something on Sunday at the same time right now. And this interview that I did with her was a part of the interview series that I did for Manifest New Year's Eve. And I did a whole bunch of them, but there are a few of them that really stood out. And I felt like if we get too far away from 2020, then it's gonna feel like, meh. So I wanted to bring this interview to you. It is so incredible and so special. And I'm excited for you all to get to experience Sianna's love and magic. And her Instagram, if anybody wants to tag her in anything, hold on, I'm gonna pull it up, hopefully without ruining anything. Hold on a second. So Instagram, I'm pulling up her Instagram right now so I can put it in the chat box for all of you. So if anybody wants to go wish, yeah, it's just her name, wish her a hello, or if you tag her in anything in any of these posts, she'll be so excited to know as well. So this is Sianna's Instagram that I've put in the chat box for you all as well. So before we get into the interview though, y'all, I have to, I really from my heart have to say something to you all, especially after last week. You know, I have to say thank you. I have to say thank you. You know, some of you really pushed me last week through one of my own limiting beliefs that I have had, you know, even around the kingdom. Because one of the things that I committed to with the kingdom was that this would always be something that was free to you. This would always be something that was available to our whole community, no matter how much money you had, no matter how much whatever. And I realized that in that creation, there were so many of you who wanted, I didn't even recognize there were this many of you who wanted to give and contribute to the growth of this community. And I think you heard last week that I said by the end of this year, my goal is to have 100,000 people joining us on the kingdom. And I think it is a realistic goal that we can get to, but it's taking some support, right? We're building in the infrastructure to be able to hold that. And I realized that one of my limiting beliefs was in wanting to make this free. I didn't want to ask any of you to support. Like it was something that I just was not doing. And last week, you all pushed me right here in the chat box, which shows how the connection works, to put up a donate button. And in the middle of our session, I put up the donate button, and in 1 hour, we got $728, small little donations, which matter, and more than half of you set it up as a monthly recurring donation. I need you all to know how big of a deal this is for our team and our community and what we're really able to do. So many of our team members and our volunteers work, you know, you just see me on the screen, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to make all of this happen, everything you all are seeing. And just what you're doing to really open up to the community is something that I just really want to say thank you for. And so I'm, you know, still, again, I feel doing this, but because I never want to be like that preacher guy who's like trying to ask for money, because I don't need that. But I recognize that there's so many of you who actually want to give. And so I'm putting the link back up here again for us. For those of you who were not here last week, give me 1 second. I thought I had it copied and pasted and I left it. And I also put it on the main homepage of the Kingdom website, which was a big move for me to become a Kingdom donor and a Kingdom supporter. And so here's a link. This is the link. You can donate monthly, you can donate once. And just so you know, it all is tax deductible completely because this is all run through a nonprofit. None of the money touches me. It is literally all going out to build this to the 100,000 strong, so that we can do some live events and some really big things in the coming year. And so I just want to say thank you. I do, because you guys really pushed me on that. You all really did. And we rise together. And so the last thing, you know what, I'll bring it now. So here's the last thing that I wanted to say to you, and then I promise we'll get into the interview. So I've been having this thought of connecting us more. Like we're really building a family here. We're really building a community here. And I really wanted to do my best to connect all of you in a more meaningful way. And I had this idea to create something where we could buddy up for a month. So you make like just a 1 month commitment. This is no cost associated with this at all, to have prayer partners. And I'm curious, I'm going to put a poll up to see if you would have any interest in doing that before I have the team build it out. And this is something that with your donations, now we can have the team support, you get what I'm saying, to start doing more things. And so prayer partners, what it would look like is this. You would fill out the form and you would get matched with somebody, and kind of like Pandemic of Love style, and you and that person would agree once a week to get on the phone and pray for each other. That's it, once a week. I do it with one of my friends right now. I've been doing it all year. We started actually in December, in the beginning of December. And it's literally, we do 20 minutes every Monday at 8:30 in the morning. Literally, it's a 20-minute thing, and we just affirm each other and pray for each other, and we ask each other, what do you need prayer for this week? And we pray, across religions and across divides. So I'm gonna put a poll up just to see if you all have any interest in this, and I want you to be really honest, because if we're gonna use some of your donation money to build the team out, to build the page, I wanna make sure it's something that's not wasted. So the poll should be coming up soon. Hold on. Would you participate if we did prayer partners? Okay, so be honest, okay? I don't have any ego or attachment to this. I'm really just trying to get an idea, okay, of what would work. So here it comes. Can you see the poll? Do you guys see it? There should be a poll up at the bottom. I've never done this before on here, so let me know if it works. Here we go. You all see it. So the poll should be up on the screen. I would love for you all to let me know if you would participate or not, and please be honest, okay? Please be honest. And don't worry, we're gonna use the donation money from marketing. It's not like it will all go towards this, but I'm just seeing some things that we would build out, that we would be building out, okay? And if anybody's having trouble seeing anything, just refresh the page. All right. This is good. So we're almost at like half and half here. Cool. All right. Cool. We're probably not as winning. This is really fun to watch, like watching the United States election. I'll give you about another 5 seconds literally to do this. Okay. This is good. This is good information. So we're at about a 60-40 split, okay, around this, and it could be whatever you all want, right? It could be prayer, it could be just talking, it could be just connecting, it could be any of those things. But we're at about a 60-40. So let me talk to the team, and we'll see what's up. And Kelly, I don't know if you can hear, but if you can just refresh, it'll probably all work for you. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for all of your love and for your commitment to this community. And I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat box. Cool. All right. So, anchoring into our session today, the power of heart. And I wanted to get all these logistics out of the way first, because Sianna is going to wrap us all up in a big spell. And we rise together. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family, and everyone in between, Sianna Sherman.
There is a genius inside every feeling, every emotion, every experience. There's a gift inside all of it. And I think that's really, really important for us to remember and embrace.
Yeah. Hey, this is Justin Michael Williams, and before you get started on watching this interview that I know you're excited to watch, I want to tell you that this interview series is a part of a special event that our community does that is totally free every year called Manifest New Year's Eve. Now, whether you're watching this close to the new year or not, listen carefully, because I want to give you this context. Every year, at the end of the year, our community puts together this incredible event that helps you set your mission, vision, and goals for the year to come. And our theme is you don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. You get what you are. So it's about who you're becoming so that you can transform. And these interviews, this interview that you're about to watch, was a part of that special event. And the best part is it's free and you can watch it anytime you want. So if you go to this website, manifestnye.com, you can see the full replay of our 3-hour masterclass featuring all of these incredible special guests like Young Pueblo, Dr. Tama, Dan Siegel, Sarah King, Sianna Sherman, Vanessa In, and more. And our community coming together so that we can actually transform our lives. And you'll get a special manifest workbook that will walk you through every single step of the process. And it's totally free. It's our gift to you, because what we really believe is that no matter who you love, no matter how much money is in your bank account, no matter what your identity is, and no matter what color your skin is, we all deserve to live in the full abundance that is our birthright. And so it's a great honor to be on this journey with you and to present to you this interview from Manifest New Year's Eve. May you be well. Hey everybody, this is Justin Michael Williams with Manifest New Year's Eve, and I'm so excited, like really so honored from the deepest place in my heart to have my special guest with me right now today, Miss Sianna Sherman. Sianna, thank you so much for being here. And I'm laughing because like this is the first time I think I called you Miss Sianna Sherman.
I was laughing too.
and I just have to let you all know. So Sianna and I have been great friends for many lifetimes now at this point, but realistically for the last many years, like much of my time and definitely all of your time in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And I said that one of my intentions with the New Year's interviews was to bring to my community the people who have had the biggest impact on my life. And I can tell you that the opening up of my voice was literally, Sianna was there for every moment of it. Like all of it that you're seeing of the expression of the gifts that I've been able to step into in the world and the manifesting of the life that I've been able to manifest was deeply created through the sense of ritual and safety and love and connection and magic that Sianna has brought forth in my life. And she's a friend, but also a mentor and a teacher and a guide to me and to so many. And when I say so many, I mean like quite literally hundreds of thousands of people. Hey y'all, I'm peeking in with a little moment because I forgot to say something to you all. As you hear me or Sianna in this interview saying things that you resonate with, remember, one of the things that we do here is we put our hands up, but we also type it into the chat box. So any golden nuggets, any big takeaways that you hear, be sure to type them into the chat box so we can see them and echo them and really accent these main teachings that Sianna is about to bomb on y'all. All right, get ready. I'm watching it with you. Let's go. Over the world in every country that you can think of. And so Sianna, I know you have a very busy day right now, so I thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us. And I'm super excited for you to bring your wisdom to everybody.
Thanks, Justin. And you know what? Pretty much everything you said is how I feel about you too.
Oh. So here we are.
You're really like a dream come true, a friend for me. And from the moment I landed in Los Angeles, you really were the first friend that I came into deep connection with. And I just want to say that so much of the spirit of activation and magic and just bringing through the creative energy gets so amplified, and it's so much fun when we have real friendship and friends who support us and see us and will be there for us when we're at our, most vulnerable places, which you have been there for me so many times, and just right there with each other, bearing witness through it all and just loving each other so much. And the more that we experience like that whole arc of life, from the deepest pains and the most ecstatic joys, we are deepening in our intimacy through these friendships, and it just builds this bridge of possibility. So the deepest bow to you for being one of my most magical friends in the way of true deep intimacy of the heart and magic activation too.
There we are. This is our beginning, because I think as we're talking about this activation of the heart, and the magic, the piece of that, and the alchemy, really, when we activate that space in our hearts, that I know you speak about so beautifully. And I love, obviously, seeing the Shri yantra right over your heart right now. And I'm thinking about this in relation to 2021, into all of us getting into this space of the new year and needing to activate this space of the heart, more and more and more. And no matter when somebody's watching this, whether they're watching it right at the new year or many years later, I think we're going to still have this moment of needing to activate that magic of the heart. So why do you think that itself is so relevant right now and so important and needed? And how do we start getting started in doing that?
Oh, Justin. Well, I just want to say that you and I are connecting right now in this moment on the day of the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn and winter solstice and the real midwiving of the Aquarius energy and into the world and the power of the collective we. And this is the whole empowerment of the heart. And right as you started speaking, I could see one of the teachings from Bhagavan Nityananda coming through. And the teaching is that the heart is the hub of all places. Go there and roam. And the truth is like at the root of the heart and this whole energetic gorgeousness of our being, at the root of the heart is where so much is being breathed into and transformed and sincerely alchemized in the way of the heart. And this is where we listen so deeply to what's calling us in our soul's innermost longing, and we start to hear it and feel it, and then we might be able to name it or speak it or maybe not, but we know that something is stirring from deep in our soul. And as we start to listen in this way deep inside the heart, it starts calling us through these realms of the unmanifest through the manifesting and into the manifest. And that's all happening through the power of the sunlight at the root of the heart, moving us through these realms and these gateways. And then we hook that personal longing up with a big collective vision and for the benefit of all. And then that's full alchemical heart wing magic activation. And that is what 2021 is really about and calling us to. And 2020 is like pushing us to the limit to show up for our soul lessons and for ways that we have to be accountable, maybe ways that we have not been accountable, both personally and collectively for the greater whole. And we have to see it and turn to it and embrace it so that we can work with it and tell a new narrative and co-create a new culture that actually cares for the power of the we and the power of the heart and of the collective heart. And that's where real magic happens. So 2021 is just going to be like,
yeah. And you know what? This is so amazing because I just got off of an interview for this with Dr. Dan Siegel. And what I'm loving is I'm interviewing all these people separately, and we're all framing in to this conversation of the we, or as the collective we, or as Dan calls it, we. He says, me, it's the me. It's not leaving the me, and it's also not only becoming a we. It's keeping the me and integrating with the we. So it's that collective we, and he calls it me plus we equals we. And it's the most beautiful thing. And I think I want to name a few things and unpack a few things that you left us with there, because there was so much in that I think people could benefit from diving into. So first thing, right, is the calling that is whispering and beckoning you, that you can breathe space to in your own heart. How do we start to listen and have the courage to listen to that call? Because you helped me listen to that call. in a lot of ways. I think you remember some big moments, you know, to really listen to that call. So how do we start to do that?
You know, there are so many ways. And in this spirit of the me, we, and I want to call us into that spirit of that truly interconnected, resonant field. And that this interconnected, interdependent, resonant field is calling forth the rewilding of each of us, and that power of the diversity of our creativity, all interconnected. And so in the way of listening, also, it is going to be very diverse in the way that we might all come to really hearing what's deep inside our heart. And in the yoga tradition, it's one of the ways of referring to this is the Icha Shakti. Shakti means energy, power, and the dynamic creative force. And Icha means the innermost longing and will. And as you beautifully said it, whispering within the depth of our being. So here are a few ways that are invitations, and there are many. I find that going and being in nature, and I think you knew I was going to start there. Whatever calls you, like in this moment, if we are to close our eyes or turn inside, and we just say nature, and then we see what appears before us. Is it an ocean, a mountain, a tree, a flower garden, a vegetable garden, the songbirds, the wonderful little reptiles running around close to the ground? What is it that calls us? And right there, that's an instantaneous hookup for us to say yes to. And so then trust that. Like, this is so much about like trusting the inner just presence of the self and the inner wisdom of the self. Trust it and go to that place in nature if you can, or travel in an inner visualization. And then go without agenda. Go without, like there's a saying of in the teachings of to be with nothing to prove and nothing to hide, to simply be present in this way. And then as we sync up and we come into rhythm in nature, then we might find expression coming through us through song or movement or breath or stillness. And then we can begin to listen from this way and in rhythm. So that's one way. Music, just turning on music that inspires you, whatever it is, and let your body move and dance. And let it just really like pulse and breathe and be, and then come into stillness and maybe close to the earth or with your back up against the support of a wall, and listen from here. It might be that in those most liminal spaces, as we're falling asleep and just waking up, those very liminal spaces is a wonderful place to listen and to ask inwardly, like an inner whisper. Hello, how are you calling me at this time? You know, what is your voice, your song? And in the most liminal spaces, you know, and so that it could be meditation, it could be a wonderful yoga practice, it might be a long run that puts you in that zone. And whatever that is for you in who we are, trust in that space and see what comes through.
You know, and I've been, so all of that, and I've been practicing the mythic yoga flow with you online. This month has really been holding me into that listening space. And I think one of the things that you said in the beginning that keeps coming up again and again and again when I hear people talk about the listening is the courage that comes with being able to then act or actually take what you're hearing and embody and integrate that into the whole of you, into the collective, into the whole thing. And so what about when it's scary? What about when you hear the call, right? And you're like, oh, but what do I do? You know, like, how am I gonna actually do this? So how do we build that courage? And even if it's not practical, like, what do we need to know about that integration, you know, of courage and the listening?
Oh, I love it. Well, you know, and I love storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different arcs of stories, but one of them we know as the hero's journey and the heroine's journey. And they begin with the call. And then there's so much excitement, like, yes, I hear the call and I'm going to follow it. And it's a new adventure and it feels so exciting. And yet at the same time, it's utterly terrifying.
Yeah.
It's something totally different, something totally new. And when we're excited to begin this new journey, there is simultaneously and very naturally a fear, maybe multiple fears, resistance, excuses, all sorts of things can come up of why not to follow it. And this is where the bravery of our being comes in. And there's so many ways to connect with the bravery of our being. And I think that one of them is simply knowing that we're not being asked to step in this new way and get it all just right and be perfect about it. And it's the perfect expression, the perfect book, the perfect whatever. It's like, wipe that out right away, bow to it. We go in with a great humility, a deep trust in the mystery, and with the excitement and the fear of our being together. And we show up and we say, this longing in my heart is so much greater than this resistance, this fear, this challenge, this adversary, that I am going to muster it up and I'm going to go for it. And I can just show up in the full, wonderful, maybe chaotic messiness of the attempts of the first creative expression. And it's going to be so much fun because that's all part of it. So it's a big, gigantic play that honors both the fear and the excitement of it, and mustering up. You know, there's so many, I work a lot with mudras, like this one I love, of the mudra of unshakable trust, you know, and this is bringing, it's called the Vajra. And the Vajra means the thunderbolt, the initiatory power, and it also means the diamond. And so this is calling us in with unshakable trust to be initiated, to go inside those pathways of initiation and begin to cultivate the diamond body. And how's a diamond born? Through deep intensity, deep heat, you know, it gets cooked up and then it pushes up from the deep within the mantle of the earth and shine bright like a diamond time.
It's so amazing, Sianna, because the levels, the layers of connection here, you know, really, they mean so much, because it also reminds me of how much of who I've become has been because of the teachings that you've shared. Because even in the 40-day program that many of us will be starting together in the community in January, the second week, which is all about self-sabotage, is called our Diamond Week. Because it's about how those pressures that we use, how do we turn that pressure into power, you know, and become the diamonds that we are. And so it just, there's so many layers. And I'm wondering, Sianna, for those of you who, for those people who may not know you so well yet, you know, I'm wondering if you might tell us a story of a moment when you've followed that courage, you know, of your heart, and woken up into that space, so that we can see, even if it's a big story or if it's a little story, so that we can all recognize that we're all on this path, you know, of awakening together.
Wonderful. Let me feel into that. I feel like there's stories within stories within stories.
It's a hard one, right?
Pretty much every single day. Well, first I want to I'll share briefly one, because this was really a very pivotal time in my life. It was the end of my teenage years, and I had really gone through several years that were just in the underworld. And what I want to also say is I want to welcome us all into the underworld journeys. I really know that they're so scary. And at the same time, this is where we mine the gifts, and where so much the poisons are transformed into nectar. And it cannot be so without really going into those underworld journeys, because it's through these underworld journeys that we actually have the opportunity to reclaim lost, hidden, and thrown away parts of our own self. And so we're going in and reclaiming them and then mining them to the surface, and jewels upon jewels are born within us. So gifts are born in these ways, as we know. And so I had several years that were extremely intense, and I was en route to medical school, and everything seemed to be, to the outer world, all perfect and happy. But inside me, it was a total meltdown. Definitely the meltdown of the chrysalis, and the big metamorphosis of life. And I started to feel something inside myself that literally was felt like a total shutdown when I even thought about medical school. And then I started to feel almost, I always talk about it like this big hand on the back of my heart, like as if I was going to go. My mind is like, I'm going this way into medical school. And this hand was like, you're going to go this way. And I was like, what? And so I ended up just saying, okay, I'm not going to do it. It was a huge choice for me. And I essentially just packed my bags, and I went on the road, and I landed in communes, and I went to Ireland where my Irish roots are. And then I started going to India, and then I landed in a mystery school and all sorts of things. It just kept opening, opening, opening. But it was so unknown. I honestly did not ever know what the next day was going to be. And I just kept following it. And then I would try to go back to medical school, and would even defer it. And the counselors and stuff would listen to me, and they're like, you're never coming back. Go, keep going on your journey. And I was, no, I'll come back in 1 year. So I never went back to medical school, but life opened up in this like soul explosion. That's what I want to say. So I really just followed it in a big way. And in that, I had to strip myself of my constructed identity. I had to dismantle quite a lot of dominant culture within myself and in my own mindset. The dominant culture that was pushing me, for the grades, for the university degree, then to medical school, and then you do this, and dominant culture just like pushing me like this. And my soul, though, was dismantling all that. And the process was quite intense. It was very messy. There was a lot of tears, but there was also just an eruption of total creative energy. And so the last thing I'll say about it is that these times are like unraveling knots within our being, like things that are held within our shadow, because it's not just our fear and things like that in our shadow, it's also our greatness, our magic, our what we're able to contribute. And when we start to turn to it and compassionately unravel it, there's extraordinary amounts of liberatory energy, creative energy that begins to move through us. And it can look very different than what our mind in a rational linear way is thinking it's going to look like. So it'll no longer be point A to B to C, but all of a sudden it's going to be cyclical and spiraling and unusual and out of the box. And that's the journey of the soul.
There's so many things. And I think the thing that I want to push into a little bit more, especially as I've been introducing the community quite a bit into shadow work, which is something that you introduced to me. And I quote you all the time. I'll never forget sitting in your house, and you were telling me to see Robert and that I should maybe do it. And I was like, I don't know if I should do that. I don't want to do shadow work. I've been to therapy. I don't know if I want to do it. And you said, Justin, the bigger the light, the bigger the shadow. And you said that. I quote you on that all the time. And I was like, shit. I was like, I think my shadow is probably really big. And that was the opening for me. And when you just said something that I would love to unpack, because a lot of people think of the shadow as just the bad stuff is there, right? And you said, no, there's more than just the quote unquote fear and scare and bad stuff there. There's gifts and things. So what do you mean by that? I would love to hear more about this.
Yeah, so shadow work, think of shadow as anything that we haven't cast the light of awareness to, anything that we're not paying attention to can be in shadow. So that really is a pretty big amount of things that can be living in our own shadow. The ego will go shadow. Wow, that's all the scary stuff, the stuff I'm afraid of. And that is there because the things that we're afraid to name about ourselves live in our shadow. Because it's like putting stuff into the back of the drawer, of the closet, and being like, I don't want to deal with it right now. And so just go there. We do that inside our own being. And there's also the aspects of ourself that we're afraid to embrace that are like our bigness, our greatness, our the big magic of who we are. And we are have been conditioned not to listen to it, not to follow it, or not to believe or trust in our own self. And through this conditioning, the conditioning happens in our societies, in our cultures, in our own inner being. There's just so much conditioning and dominant culture pushing certain things that we start to disconnect from the really essence of our being, a separation from the infinite self that we are. So as soon as we turn towards that which we cannot see, yes, we will be embracing our the wounds within us, the vulnerabilities, the fears, the repressed angers. All of it is there, and will come with great compassion. And as we are casting that light of awareness, we'll begin to see, oh, there's the song of my voice that I pushed in there when I was a little child. There's my playful spirit skipping around when I was told, hey, get in here and do this or that, like attend to your homework or do whatever. And that spirit of play somehow, it could be our compassion gets pushed into our shadow, our empathy, our ability to we all have this capacity to really relate with each other and be present, and yet our empathy can get pushed into shadow. So many things can be living in our shadow, and that's why for me I speak of shadow as being willing to have that courage, that bravery to track our shadow. And when we do, guess what? We get to be shadow dancers. And it's so much fun.
See, this is beautiful. And this gives us even more reason and desire to dig into our shadow, because I think so many people think like, oh, if I go there, it's just all my hurt and all my pain and all my this. And yes, it's all mixed together. But like there's so many of our great gifts, hiding in the shadow.
There's a genius inside every feeling, every emotion, every experience. There's a gift inside all of it. And I think that's really, really important for us to remember and embrace.
Yeah. This is
the alchemy. I mean, this is the alchemy within.
Yeah. And speaking of this alchemy, I think one of the final questions, and I could just talk to you forever. I feel like we're just warming up, but we're coming to our time, is as we're looking into this year to come, and we're looking into the transformations that we're all really wanting to step into and make. We have, you've said about the courage and listening to our heart and speaking and thinking about the collective. And I just want to know from you, what is your big wish for humanity and for each of us as individually, the collective we and the individual me, as we're stepping into this new threshold of the new year?
Yeah, so beautiful, Justin. With all sincerity, my wish for humanity is that as much as we can, wherever we are on the planet, and as much as our hearts just keep, breaking open, I really feel like COVID 2020 is such a massive heartbreak year on so many levels. And I always bow to the heartbreak time as increasing heart awake, like from heartbreak into heart awake, heartbreak, heart awake, heartbreak, heart awake, so that I don't turn away from the pain, and to embrace it and just keep letting it burst me open in every possible way. My true wish is for as many of us as possible to really turn towards collective care. and to look into our most immediate families and surroundings and communities, and look to see, like, right where we are, what is being marginalized, who is being pushed out into the places of greater oppression and even being erased by dominant culture. And that through this massive waking up inside our whole being, that we just start seeing this and saying, like, okay, this injustice is not okay, this injustice is not okay. Now, where am I going to make my contribution with the gifts that I have? Like, really pull through our magic in a big way for the benefit of the greater whole, and start bringing it into awesome action. Because to have a great intention is not going to make it happen. So to bring it all the way through and start asking how we can help and contribute and be part of real, true collective care, that for me is my wish and vision for 2021 and forever after.
It's amazing. Sianna, I think I would love to just ask you to close us out with a little prayer.
Yeah. Okay, family. If you wish, reach down to touch the seat that you're sitting upon, or even down to the floor, symbolic of reaching down to the earth and the roots of your being, and to the roots of the earth. And in the roots of the earth are all these gorgeous little filaments and mycelia, and this interconnected exchange of nutrients and real intelligence within the earth that understands that we all belong to each other. And so we reach down through the rootedness of our being into the great rootedness and remembrance of who we are, and with Mother Earth and to all beings. And from this groundedness, if you wish, reach up. Let your whole body rise from the roots, rise to the sky. Really open it up and allow yourself to just receive the abundance of all that is, this universal intelligence, and the infinity of blessings, the infinite self, and draw it into our own heart. And let's just take 3 alchemical heart wing pulses and breaths. Feel that movement, the cycles and the seasons, the ritual and the rhythm of all life through our breath and our body. And then bring it to your heart with this mudra we showed before of the diamond body, the unshakable trust in our gifts, in our magic, in our journey in this process. And then I'll just finish with just this beautiful song that I've been singing all year, Blessed We Are by Paia. Blessed we are to dance on this ground, with the rhythm of saints to carry the sound. We hold a prayer for the earth and the ones yet to come. May you walk in beauty and remember your song. Blessed we are to dance on this ground, with the rhythm of saints to carry the sound. We hold a prayer for all life and the days yet to come. May you walk in beauty and remember your song. Remember why you came here. Remember your life is sacred. Remember why you came here. Remember your life is sacred. Take a beautiful breath in, family. Breath of the heart and of the big, vast vision of the infinite mind and of your body prayer. And blow it into your hands. And then we offer this blessing breath out to each and all, near and far, here and there, through all time, all space, through all eternity. And so it is. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Ashe, Aho, Salam, Shalom, Amen, Satnam, Om.
And Awen.
And Awen. Adding that
That's
to
the
my
Celtic Druid prayer.
Yes, Awen.
Means the flowing spirit.
Love it. Sianna Sherman, thank you.
Justin Michael Williams. I
For
love you.
being with me. And for all of you listening, thank you so much for taking the time out of your days and out of your lives to allow our voices to be in your ears today. It's an honor and a privilege that we don't take for granted. And my biggest prayer right now is that you leave this conversation feeling more hope and inspiration and possibility and belief in yourself and in your heart wings and the activation of your own alchemy, that we can all keep rising together. And so I love you, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
I am enough. I am golden, baby. I am enough.
How's it feel to let that sink in, everybody? Oh, I see your comments in the chat. Isn't Sianna so special, everybody? It would mean the world to me if you all show her some love on her Instagram today. If there was anything that connected and resonated with you all, her Instagram is just at Sianna Sherman, and just tell her you watched her on The Kingdom today. And I'm sure that'll blast her with love and the heart wings. So as we come into our moment of closing and we think of an action, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. And I want you to first think about, well, actually, place your hands over your heart in Vajra Mudra, which Sianna showed us. Fingers interlace, thumbs pointing up, hands over the heart. Remember why you came here. Remember why you came here. And I want you to ask yourself, what is the whisper that's calling on your heart? And what is one step, a simple step, that you can take to help you get there? How might you move this intention into action? And how might you move differently if you trusted in the unshakable you? What would you do differently about this if you trusted in your power? If you didn't doubt yourself? What would you do differently as you step forward into your heart's calling and desire? This is the magic. This is the magic that we are all stepping into. And so I invite you to type your actions in. And I want you to think of what, as you type your actions in, well, let's start there. And then after you type your action, you can think of what is one golden nugget, one big takeaway that you can take away from this experience with Sianna. And remember, one of the things that we really value in this community is your takeaway is not just for you. But those of you who are new here, and even if you're not new here and you forgot, what we do is our golden nugget is something that we remember for ourselves, but then we also commit to passing that on to somebody that we love or that we know. Whether it's a child or a friend that you text or call after and say, hey, this is something that I learned today. I want to talk about it with you, or I just want to share it with you, or you post something about it online. Whatever way you choose to share, this is how we take it and spread this message of love and hope around the world. I love you, Kingdom family. This is the power of heart. The real, as Sianna says, the alchemical heart wing, flying and forming, helping you remember why you came. I see all of this coming in. You know, I think one of my big takeaways from that time with Sianna, just to share with you all when I did that interview with her, was even though I teach shadow work, there was an awakening that came to me when she talked about shadow dancers and remembering that it's not just the trauma and the pain and the harm that's in our shadow, but sometimes it's so many of our gifts and our light is in the shadow. And so when we dig into the shadow, we're going to sort through kind of that junk drawer, that attic or that closet, and we're going to find our gifts, and we're going to also find things to heal. And in doing that, we shine the light of awareness in our shadow. And then it's no longer in the shadow. It now gets integrated into the wholeness of who we are and who we get to be. So I love you all so much. Thank you for coming here and spending your Sundays with me. This is our 27th week of the Kingdom together, and we're just getting started. This is Justin Michael Williams signing out. I love you, and I'll meet you right here in this special place in our next session of the Kingdom. May you be happy. May you be free. And my prayer is that you remember who the fuck you really are. Remember why you came here. I love you.